Welcome to EYNTK. Today we are going to be talking about Kirchhoff's law in applied electricity, and like we all know, Kirchhoff's law is divided into Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law. But in today's video, we are going to be only talking about Kirchhoff's current law. And as we have seen here, this is a question on Kirchhoff's current law, and the question says you should find VO, that means voltage O, from this circuit. Now, as we know the statement of Kirchhoff's current law, which states that the current entering into a circuit must be equal to the current leaving the circuit, or the algebraic sum of the currents entering a circuit or leaving must be equal to 0. So now, using that law, we are going to start with, first of all, we know that there's a current passing through this loop. Let's name the current I. Yes, let's name the current I. So I is also passing through here. So now, using the statement of Kirchhoff's current law, which says that the algebraic sum of the currents entering a loop must be equal to 0, we'll now state it like this. We'll now choose all the elements in the circuit, and it goes like this. So first of all, the current is moving clockwise, and let's start with this 12 volts. It's now meeting the 12 volts at the negative sign. So it's going to be minus 12. Yes, minus 12. We'll now move to the next element. Now we know that since it's Kirchhoff's current law that we're using, we know that we are going to use the we're going to use the currents in it. So now I've done for the 12 volts. We'll now go to the 4 ohms. Now that will be first of all, I think here was meant to be plus and here is meant to be minus. Don't forget your sign quotation. Now if it comes to the 4, it's now going to be 4I. That is, you know that the 4 is the ohms and the I is the current. So we now know that current times resistance gives you voltage. We'll now go to the next element, which is 2VO, and we now know the sign conversion, which is plus 2VO. We now go to the next element, which is 4 volts. Now we know that as it's moving clockwise, it meets the minus sign. So it's going to be 4 minus 4 minus 4. Now going on to the last element on this circuit, it now meets this, and that is plus. So it's going to be minus what? Sorry, it's not going to be minus, it's going to be plus VO. Now since it's Kirchhoff's law, we know that everything should sum up to 0, which is equals to 0. Now, before I go on, I want to state that you can use clockwise motion or you can use anti-clockwise motion. It's your choice. All you have to do is just to follow the sign convention. So now, using this, now we have a variable here, or we have an unknown here, which is VO, and everything should be in terms of I. Now, looking at the circuit, we know that VO is equals to, looking at here, is going to be equals to 6I. Look at this, 6I, because this is the current going here. Sorry, this is the current going here. I meets with this resistance, so that's VO. You know that is a resistance times current, which you know that, like, let's say V is equals to what? IR. V is equals to I. This is our I, and our R is our 6. So now, since you know that VO is equals to 6I, we now let's name this equation what? 1. VO is equals to 6I. We now substitute it back into our equation 1. So that is going to be minus 12 plus 4I plus 2 into what? 6I minus 4 plus what? 6I. So let's equals to 0. So this is now equal equation 2. So now this is already our simplified equation. So now we are going to expand, which is minus 12 plus 4I plus 2 times 6 is what? 12I. We now have our minus 4. We now have our plus 6I equals to 0. We further simplify. We now know that 4I plus 12 gives us 16I. We now know that 16 plus 6 gives us 22I. So that's 22I. We now, our constant, which is minus 6 minus 4, gives us minus 16. Everything equals to 0. So we now know that 22I equals to what? 16. So now find our I. We know we'll now divide both sides by what's 22. divided by 22. So once you divide that, I is now going to be 16 over 22 amperes. You can further divide it into its decimal, but now that's not the question. Yeah, if the question says you should find only I, here this is your final answer, but the question now told us to find what? VO. So now we now know that, let's call this equation what? I prime. Yes, equation 1 prime rather. Let's call it equation 1 prime. So we now know that to find VO, we now know from 1 prime. Yes, from 1 prime, we now know that VO is equal to what? 6I. Now I've already found our I. You know that VO is now equal to what? 6 times what? 16 over what? 22. You can decide to break this down. This 2 goes here, or yes, 2 goes here 3 times, then 2 goes here 11. So VO is equal to what? 16 times 3, that should give us 848 all over 11. So I think you can further simplify this. Goes like 4 whole number 4 over 11 volts. So we have found our VO for this question. Thank you so much.